Welcome to the Win, Make, Give podcast, season 2. I think it's been a long time. This is Ben Kinney, Kinney, in case any of you ever want to send me a Christmas card or a Christmas present, Kinney. We had Chad Hyams.
Hello.
It's spelled Hyams. It's really weird. You know, I don't know why. And we have Bob Stewart, and it's Stewart. I don't know why I'm spelling this, but I feel like it's an appropriate start to a great podcast.
Well, hey, at least we got that out of the way.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, the topic for today is the 3 words that I've been thinking about all week in my business, gentlemen.
So you said in your business, I was going to say I love you too.
But before I share these 3 words, everybody...
By the way, not just with the audience, with Chad and I.
Yeah,
we don't know what these 3 words are either.
They have absolutely zero idea what we're going to talk about
both
today.
on the edge of our seats right now.
So Kevin Costner's last good movie was, right? I mean, let's just go to left field.
Kevin Costner.
Yes.
Greatest Kevin Costner movies of all time. Bob Stewart.
The Bodyguard.
Oh, you got to say Bull Durham.
Bull
Hands
Durham.
down, Bull Durham.
The Postman. The Postman.
What's the golf one he's in?
Tin Cup.
Tin Cup's pretty good. Tin Cup's pretty good.
I Field of Dreams.
Draft Day, Field of Dreams.
But he really did hit out of the park
Waterworld.
with Yellowstone.
Don't say Waterworld. Why did you say that?
I just had
It's
to throw.
awesome.
I didn't say it is a good movie. I
I
just
love
had to throw it in there.
Waterworld.
That movie at the time it was made was like the biggest disaster in the history of
No, they
movies,
spent
right?
a little bit of money on there, but it wasn't a
lot of money,
disaster.
I
It was
think.
good.
They
It
sunk
was like
the set.
$200 million
They had
or
to
something. Just
build the whole set
like
again.
it was like 4 times any other movie ever or something
Ishtar.
insane.
I think is still considered the biggest
Right.
bomb
Wait,
of all
how do
time.
we-
Back to
Kevin
you, Ben
Costner.
Kinney.
Ladies and gentlemen, back to the Win, Make, Give podcast. The 3 words. I'm not going to tell you what they are. What I'm going to tell you is what I've been kind of thinking about. So, this is that time of year where you start planning and you're thinking about next year. Now, Bob, our company has been knee deep in plans and budgets and
Head
GPSs.
counts and GPSs and 135s and all the stuff.
What's a GPS?
Goal, priority, strategy.
Yeah. Why is it called a 135?
Because you have 1 goal, 3 priorities, and then 5 strategies for each priority.
So a total of how many strategies?
15.
We pulled that out.
I'm impressed, actually.
I was watching. I was going to
Well, when
roll
I'm
the
paying
bands
attention,
again
like
7.
So we should do a podcast about a GPS maybe at some point, but that's not what today's about. So we're doing all this planning, and I got all these departments of our companies coming here and talking about the big plans they have for next year and all the things they want to do. And man, I love our company and our people, but they're thinking so far out that I feel like they're going to miss what they need to get done right now.
Yep.
And that's what I worry about. I was laying awake at night in my camo undies, and I was just laying there,
Chad,
Bob.
brain bleach is what they call that.
Thank
we
you,
need
Bob.
brain bleach right now.
Okay,
going, Mr. Camo Undie guy.
Okay, camo undies. I'm sitting there in my camo undies, and I'm thinking about this problem, and I'm worried about it, stressing me out, because when you're not a gigantic company that has a ton of money to waste, you're a company where every minute matters, every person matters, every hour, everything we work on matters, right? So here's what I wrote down. 3 words. Solve important problems.
I thought you were going to say no company-wide meetings.
No,
I
that could have been it. Solve important problems. Here's what I mean. And I said to my leadership, I said, here's what I want you to focus on, these 3 words. Solve important problems. I said, what you're working on is cool. I'll give you one example. One of our companies wanted to change the comp plan for our sales reps. Interesting. I said, why? And they said, well, we want them to focus more on a certain product or revenue growth instead of the way it's organized.
Got it.
I said, do you think the current one's broken? No, not necessarily. I said, okay, let me ask you a question. Do the top salespeople make a lot of money? And they said, yeah, they make a lot. Great. Do the bottom salespeople not? And they said, yeah, the bottom people, they don't make a lot. Well, that's a good sales comp plan, isn't it, Bob Stewart? That's the way it was meant to be designed.
Yeah.
So I said, I got to ask you a question. When you're done doing that, am I going to wake up in a year or 6 months and say, gosh, you really solved an important problem and now the business is so much better? Or am I going to wake up and say, gosh, you super complicated billing, and now we have to do all this math to figure out how much people get paid, and the guys are still selling the same exact amount of widgets? And they're looking at me, and I said, you got to solve important problems. You just spent days, meetings and planning and spreadsheets to come up with this idea to fix something that wasn't broke, when really, what's the number one thing that you could do that would drive more sales? And the gentleman looks at me and he says, hire more sales reps?
Yeah.
I said, exactly.
This,
That's an important problem.
like, as you talk about this, I'm reminded of Naval has that saying, play stupid games, win stupid prizes or something, right?
So good.
Like, that's what this feels. It's like, are you playing the right game? Are you solving the right problem?
Sometimes people are breaking things just to have something broken so they can think they fix something.
Oh, yeah. To appear busy.
Yes.
Sometimes everybody has super good intentions, and it would be cool if we improve some things or we fix some things, but it's not the most important thing that we need to fix. We're talking about revenue growth. We're trying to go from 30 widgets to 50 widgets in a year, right? My question is, what's going to make up the delta? How do you really move 20 additional widgets in your company? Not how do you move 0.001 of a widget, right? When you have limited resources, you have to make decisions. You have to solve the most important problems.
I mean, look, in some cases, you have to identify the most. You just have to even
That was gonna be my
identify what
question.
those problems are, right? Or which one, because again, there's probably 50 problems. Identifying the most important one, that's a challenge.
Bob Stewart, ladies and gentlemen, wants to add in his own 3 words, and his 3 words are identify important problems. You down with IPP. Identify important problems.
Ben's down with SIP. We got to solve them.
SIP. We'll just stick with SIP.
Right. But like in your example there, that sales manager was out there trying to solve a problem. It just wasn't the right problem.
Yeah.
How do you identify the problem, Ben? Let's start there, because we're going to figure out and we're going to talk about how to solve important problems, and that's what we need to focus on. Yet, how do you even identify what the important problem is to solve?
Well, I think you have to take the time to write down all the problems you can think of.
Okay. So start with a brain dump of problems.
When you don't do that, you're just picking the most obvious problem, the most recent problem, right?
Sure.
Not the most important. So how do you get together with your brain trust of coworkers or friends or partners and say, let's make a list of all the important problems in our business today?
All the things we'd like to change this year or consider or look at or in the next 5 years, we know that these are things that we want to tackle.
Or what's broken currently, or who do we need right now, right? Those are all the sort of things that we could do. And then once you do, you go through some sort of, maybe you use our 6 thinking hats exercise, or maybe you just put them in order as the leader. You just say, you know what? I think this number 1 is the most important thing. If we fix this thing, actually 2 or 3 of these other ones wouldn't matter.
Yeah.
And then if we got that done, we got the second one done, we'd hit 80% of our goal by solving 2 problems.
Okay.
But only if you solve the important problems.
Yes.
That makes sense?
Absolutely.
So as you're actually solving important problems, I wrote down 3 other words, which were plan important things. If you're going to plan for stuff, excuse me, ladies and gentlemen, if you're going to plan for stuff, make business plans for the year, Bob, or budgets or GPSs or whatever, it's really important that everybody understands exactly what you're planning for, what's the end outcome, and then you make those plans around solving the most important things.
I want to ask you a question about plans, Ben.
Okay.
Okay. You said once, and I love the way you put it, you said you dream long-term and you set goals short-term. So how do you plan? Are you planning annually? Are you planning quarterly? Are you planning 5 years from now and saying, what do we need to do to be closer to that? How do you plan so that we can then figure out which problem truly is the important problem?
Bob, you and I were just laughing about that earlier today.
I'm fascinated. Like, I'm wondering if he's going to give you some line that's not what I feel like I know. There's a clash of cultures happening in our company right now in some little way, right? Your partner, Chris, is very much a planner. And his organization has traditionally been very driven by the GPS, like to the degree that they are hitting their goals within 1 or 2%, like a year out, right? I mean, they're just gotten really, really good at it. And you have traditionally not been that, right? You've been a little bit more short term, almost monthly, sometimes quarterly at the outside. So it's, I mean,
so we're going to get an interesting answer right now.
Yeah, I'm just saying, like, what is your take on this, I guess?
Because we don't know what this conversation was going to be, so let's find out.
I'm obviously surrounding myself with planners because I'm not.
Yeah.
But I hate every second of it. Like, I think there's nothing worse than planning for a year because I know so much is going to change by the second or third quarter, right? So if they can do all they want, they can make the budgets for whatever they want, they can plan for the entire year. I don't want to say let them because they're my partners, right? We can do this together. But here's what I think about what's going to happen in the next 90 days.
Right.
Because if I can't execute on the next 90 days, the whole rest of the year plan changes, doesn't it?
Yeah.
If you start going for the next 90 days towards a goal, and in 90 days you get 50% through your goal for the year, I need to change my plan. I've underestimated my potential.
Yes.
If I get 90 days in and I have a big goal and I'm only 10% of the way through it, I need to change my plan and my strategy, and I need to pivot.
Right.
So you could have a end goal, but I'm kind of how do I plan in the present? Execute in the next 30 days, plan for the next 30, dream for a longer period of time.
Okay.
So Chad, if you were to come up with your 3 words and it had to use the word important in there, what would it be?
Wow. All right. Putting me on the spot. Let's see.
I mean, I'll go really quick if you want me to slide in front of you.
Happy to.
Find important people.
Mine was important people. I was figuring out what was that first word going to be.
And the only reason that, I'll take this time for a commercial. The only reason that's important is we got to go from, I don't know, how many employees we have today?
300?
Up to 700 or something. We're gonna bring on 400. We're gonna double plus the size of our team over the next 8 months.
Yeah. Mine was identify important people was what was the words coming together in my head, because you got to figure out who the people are that you need to be leading that are going to help you get where you're going. Who are those people that you need to bring into the organization? Who are those people that become your new mentors? Because they'll change all the time.
That might also just be a variation of solve important problems, right?
Could be.
Having the right people on the bus is an important problem to solve.
Probably one of the most important problems you'll always have.
So what was yours again?
I'm going to say it's identify important people.
IIP?
IIP. Yes. Just to be difficult.
I like IPP better. I think important should actually start with a P. If I can make that happen.
Obtain? Wait, PP, important starts with an I. Wait, is that what you just said?
Yeah, I just think
he's
it should start
trying
with
to
a
change
P because
that
of potent.
P.
Potent, okay.
Because I want to be
mine would be
IPP.
obtain potent people then.
All right, here. Okay. Can I add it? Can I have a second one?
Sure.
Ask important questions.
Yeah.
Like if you're going to sit down and try to solve important problems, it's going to probably start with asking important questions. What's broke? If we could only improve one thing, what would it be? Who are we missing?
Yes.
What is the outcome that we're going for? When do we need to get there? What should we start with? Who needs to be in the room for us to have this discussion? Who else needs to approve it? If we did that, if we asked important questions, AIP, then we could start planning important things so that we could, SIP, everybody, solve important problems so that, Chad, we could get in business with
important people.
You
know, I want to point out the questions you were asking there so everybody pays attention. If you were listening, and if you weren't, push the rewind button, go back, a minute, 2 minutes before Ben started asking these questions. Notice that most of his questions started with what or who. He wasn't asking why questions, right? Why questions all over the place. Why questions people get defensive. Bob, why'd you choose to wear that hat today? Right? People get defensive now when you start asking why questions. There's no answer sometimes to a why question. A who question brings an answer. A what question is going to bring an answer. And if you go back and listen, Ben was asking what and who questions.
So like instead of why did you choose that hat, like who the hell told you that was a good idea to pick that hat? Is that what
That
you're
might be a better question, yes, because we don't want to let that person be your stylist moving forward.
saying? It's a great hat. What are you talking
I'm
about?
not picking on the
Custom
hat
job.
specific. You just always have a hat.
I actually came to work today without a hat on.
Really, you look nice with your hat off.
Thanks. And my hair's done and everything. I was going to record a video with Dave, but he cheated on me with something
Bob, I'd
else,
like to
so-
give you a tip if I could, being a few years older than you now. I used to wear hats all the time.
Oh, crap.
And this is what happens to your hair when you're always wearing a
About
hat.
5 years and it's
Yeah,
got
probably
this to
it's
that.
gone.
Oh, man.
It's gone before you know it. He didn't ask the important question before he put the hat on. Now he's going to solve an important problem of hair
I'm
loss.
wearing a hat, so I'm just thinking about this whole thing.
You've got a few years.
You're trying to decide how good you'll look bald? Is that like what's running through your
No,
head?
I don't know. Do you,
Will you ever shave your head?
No. Do you think I'm
Never?
good? Do you think I'm good? Do you think it's going to stay? Like I feel like my hair is going to stick
You're
around.
good.
Sorry, everybody.
You're good.
Yeah.
All right, so let me bring this back and ask a question of you, Ben. Okay?
I mean, I don't even have to shave my face. Like
You're good.
I
Hate you
still
for
haven't
that.
hit
Me
puberty.
either, by the way.
I'm reserving all my hair power by not using it up on my face.
That's smart. That's
Right?
really
You know what I
smart.
mean?
You barely have grays either. You color your hair?
No, man. This is not touch of gray. This is real life. This is
Are there grays in there?
no, man. This is all real. This
How
is
do you
legit.
have this much stress in
This
your
is-
life? You have any gray hair?
I don't have any stress.
I feel
why?
like if you had like
Why
one
would you have
kid.
stress?
Why would you guys want to know why I don't have any stress?
Why?
Because I solve important problems.
Yeah, very good. Thank you for bringing it back, Ben, because I have to apologize to the Win Make Give audience now for what happens when we don't have
Chad's
a
so
podcast
serious.
episode
He's
prepared.
So serious.
No, he's just got to bring us back on track because you'll keep going over there. I want to ask you a question about asking important questions, solving important problems, all of that. What is one of the most important problems that you're facing right now that you're working on solving?
That's a good question. Probably, I don't know how it relates to the audience, but here's the real answer. I have 5 books on my desks. You guys can verify on organizational structure. How do you double the size of a company and not do it in such a way that it creates chaos? So I'm trying to figure out how do you organize the departments, the brands, the companies. How do we
keep
go
the
from
culture?
300 to 1,000 people, maintain the company? So I'm reading all these books on organizational structure.
How do you onboard people so they understand our story and where we came from? And, oh my
Super
God.
boring books. But I'm asking myself important questions. Man, if we screwed anything up this year, what would it be? It would destroy the culture and the productivity of our organization by adding a bunch of people and not getting additional results. But it's what I'm thinking about and what's keeping me up. I did an interview with a guy the other day, and he said, failure is self-correcting.
Tell us more.
Success is what can kill you.
Mm.
When you fail, you get back up and you go fix it.
Hopefully.
It's fast growth, it's success that ends up killing a company.
What's the other one? Sometimes you're winning so slowly you're actually losing or something.
Yeah, sometimes you're
something like
winning
that.
so slowly, or sometimes you're losing so slowly you think you're
I
winning.
think you're winning. Same
Yeah.
concept, right? You're just,
Yeah. I loved his concept of failure is self-correcting. But it's success and growth that can actually kill a company.
I mean, along that vein, why are you reading the books? Just go out and fail forward, right? Like,
No.
Might as
because
well learn from someone else's failures.
if your
There you
business
go, okay.
sucks, you don't lose much. But look at companies that have grown 200, 300, 400%, 500, 1,000, 10,000% in a year or two, and all of a sudden they implode.
Yeah.
That is growth creating, right, failure.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So we have to be careful that our growth doesn't change who we are as a company. This is arguably one of the worst podcasts we've ever recorded. So, ladies and gentlemen, I appreciate you sticking around this long. Just do
Just
me a
wait.
favor.
Pretty soon, like maybe next episode, we're just going to bring up 8 random ass things that we talk about before we turn the microphones on. That will be the worst podcast we've ever done.
I think what we'll actually do is just have Dave turn the microphone on without us knowing, and then we'll drop an episode that we weren't even prepared for.
It'll be a combination of chicken teriyaki, Tootsie
Kevin
Pops,
Costner movies.
and
Tootsie
Kevin
Pops,
Costner.
yes. Excellent. All right.
Solve,
well-
hey, quit interrupting me.
All right.
Solve important questions. What was yours, Chad?
no, it was ask important questions.
So, solve important problems.
There you go. Identify important people.
Ask important questions.
Ask important questions. And Bob,
Plan important things.
We'll take that one.
Yep.
Okay, how do we end this disaster?
Same way we end all the disasters, because some of them are. There's always a nugget in there, though. I don't care how much of a disaster it was. So you can always.
The nugget here was camo underwear, by the way.
No,
That's
Bob,
the
I had
code
brain
word.
bleached, and now I got to go do it again. Gosh, folks, come into the Win, Make, Give Facebook group, not to see pictures of Ben in the camo underwear, yet to discuss what the 8 things are that have nothing to do with anything that we should talk about on that next episode. Come to facebook.com/group/win-make-give. Normally, we ask you to share the episodes with others. This might not be one of those episodes. We hope you've laughed along the way and had some fun with us as we talk to you about solving important problems. Until our next episode, as always, do good.